jetzt wieder weg.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe von Drink at Home, Bierlovers Online-Verkostung. Heute haben wir einen Gast, der ziemlich weit entfernt sitzt. Er sitzt in Dublin. Aber bevor wir das Ganze wieder switchen zu Englisch, ganz kurz nochmal für all jene, die zum ersten Mal dabei sind. Ihr habt in euren Verkostungspaketen, hoffentlich sind alle auch rechtzeitig angekommen, eine kurze Erklärung über die Personen, die ich heute durch den Abend führen werden. Auf der anderen Seite haben wir herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe wie wir sie verkosten werden. Bierlovers Online-Verkostung, auch kurze Kostnotizen. Heute haben wir einen Gast, der zweite ziemlich weit entfernt ist, eben ein Verkostungsbogen, wo ihr euch persönliche Notizen machen könnt über alles oder die ganzen Details, die uns der Harry heute erzählen wird. Und ich würde sagen, wir starten auf Englisch, so dass auch der Harry uns alle versteht. Hello, Harry.
Markus, and Austria, Vienna, and hello.
First of all, I want to say thank you that you jumped in immediately when I asked you if you want to do this tasting together with me for the Austrian beer community, and it should be a really nice evening. You know, we're gonna make it over. It will take around 2 hours. We're gonna taste the beers. I will ask you some questions, and then it will come. You know, because we get some questions as well from the folks which are listening and watching, and so I will come up with these questions. And then you came up with a great idea. Explain us, what is your idea? You know, there's something like a lottery, you told me. So
yeah,
start
exactly.
and explain the people.
Just like Markus said, obviously delighted to be on with the beer lovers and the beer lovers community in Austria. What a great bunch of people and what passionate beer lovers. One thing we're going to do tonight is whoever maybe puts in online the best questions tonight, Markus is going to, read out the questions. So whoever comes up with some great questions, we're going to send you a prize direct from Ireland, from the brewery. So some swag from the brewery tonight.
Okay, cool. That's a great idea. So beer lovers, community fans, ask some really good questions. And the only thing you have to do then is, if Harry announces that question will get a t-shirt, only send us your name, your address, and the size for the right t-shirt. So, as I already mentioned, Harry is sitting back home in Dublin. Maybe we can start and you can explain us a little bit, what the current situation looks like back home in Dublin,
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we're, obviously being affected by this COVID virus, the same as everyone around the world, and it hasn't affected, nobody has not been affected, so a little bit crazy. But just in Ireland, we've had a very strict lockdown, so everyone is in their homes all the time. You can leave the house maybe once a day for 1 or 2 kilometer radius, but you have to stay very close to home, and only if you are doctor, nurse, working in supplying food or beverage is the only people who are working right now. So everyone is at home, working from home, working together to beat this virus.
So that means that the brewery is also completely shut down, because you only mentioned the doctor, if you're working in a supermarket chain, so the brewery is running.
So the brewery, so we're really lucky. Thank you to the supermarket partners, thank you to the off-trade. We are still able to produce and keep our brewery running because we're deemed as an essential service providing beverage. As many of you, like Austrians, know, alcohol or beer is essential for us Irish people to keep going. So thank you for that. We are able to operate and we're brewing, but again, we're operating very few people in the brewery, only brewing what we need and being careful to social distance when we brew.
Oh, okay, I got you. So yeah, it's pretty much the same like everywhere, because also in Austria, we had a really completely shut down on the 16th of March. But the good thing is that people were still allowed to move around a little bit, so it was not allowed to get something like a public meetings or something, or meet with the family or meet with your friends. So you were only allowed to meet the people which are living in the same. So yeah, but now, yeah, we will see. You know, on the 15th of May, on-trade will open again, and so hopefully, fingers crossed that most of the people will go back to the bars and have a beer together, or whatever. You know.
Absolutely. Like I think in Ireland, this is the longest time ever that the pubs have been closed. And we have a lot of pubs in Ireland. So I think everyone is, you know, fingers crossed, we're waiting for the pubs to open to get the beer and say hello to our friends. So
I hope so too. So now let's go back to business. Harry, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, when you started working, what is your current job? You know, what you're doing at the brewery.
Yeah,
when you started working for Carlo, in Carlo for O'Hara's.
Yeah, so I've been with Carlo 6 years this year. So before that, I had been in college. I studied some business, but always working in gastronomy. So I worked in some restaurants, worked in some bars, but also drinking and consuming, but also in the branding and ideas around craft beer and different beers. So I was lucky. I got an opportunity to join Carlo to move to the USA. So I joined with O'Hara's for 3 months in Ireland to learn, about the brewing process and a little bit about the company. And then I was sent to the USA to be a representative for the company over there, which was a fantastic opportunity and a beer lover's dream come true. So lived in the US for 3 years. I was based on the East Coast, so I lived in Boston, but with my job, I luckily got to travel to Colorado, Denver, visit some fantastic breweries, visit, Maine, New York, Chicago. But I was really, in Boston or in New England, just at the hype of the New England style beers. So your Lord Hobos, your Trilliums, your Treehouse. And I was landing here going, wow.
It seems to be paradise, huh?
Yeah, for sure. So really, really good time and great, great education, learn about the business side of, working with distributors and importers. And then moved back to Ireland. No American girl would marry me, unfortunately. So my visa, I had to move home. I'm joking there. My girlfriend is in the other room. She will go crazy. But I moved back to Ireland. So I'm based in Ireland now with the brewery, but I cover the export sales. So working with the likes of Amerson and Marcus at Beer Lovers, or working with guys in the UK, Euroboozer, or working with, guys in Spain, our importers. So working with them in terms of getting beers to the best, craft beer bars and best bottle shops around the world really is my job.
Oh, that's cool. So that means then you're responsible for the export business for Carlo Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So for everything to do with O'Hara is pretty much outside of Ireland. So
that's cool. That's super cool. So it was a really nice entrance, and I will say, let's start with the first beer.
Fantastic.
Okay for you?
Yeah, great.
Let's go for the first beer. So what's the first beer?
So this beer is O'Hara's Irish Pale Ale. So a lot of people say, what's an Irish Pale Ale? There's no such thing. So this Irish Pale Ale is an India Pale Ale, but again, it's brewed for the Irish consumer. So in Ireland, not many people had heard of IPA or tried IPA. So this is brewed for the Irish palate. So there is lovely hop additions, but again, not too crazy. So maybe we should pour and have a little taste.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So that means then it's a pale ale or it's an IPA?
It's an IPA.
Okay.
Yeah. But an Irish IPA.
Irish IPA. Okay, got you. Cheers.
So cheers. As we say in Ireland, I think maybe we'll do it for tonight. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Sláinte is the Gaelic for health, and what a good time to maybe say sláinte to everyone. So
that's true. So explain us the beer a little bit.
So the beer. Again, yeah, so the foam pours, a really clear head, but a little bit of retention there. You get that kind of light, straw-like color, I suppose, with the beer. Pours golden straw-like. Again, it's a little bit malt forward, but there's a really nice addition of, different varieties of hops here. So on the aroma, you get some really nice floral notes.
Mm-hmm.
Little sip.
Mm-hmm.
So the flavor there, you're really getting Irish grown. It's planet-based malt. So that's the base malt, or the main, malt body of the beer. So Irish, it's grown probably within 20 minutes from the brewery. We source all of our ingredients locally where we can, but the issue is in Ireland, we don't have the climate to grow hops for that kind of US style super hoppy beer. So we bring those in and some specialty malts. But so you get planet-based malt at the bottom, and then there's some Cara and crystal malt added, which would give a kind of a nice coloring to the beer, that light kind of golden color, and give a sweetness as well.
A little bit of copper, yeah. Hmm?
Yeah.
So Harry, wait, the first question is coming.
Okay.
Roland is asking, why did O'Hara's choose the sword and the shield as a symbol?
Okay, and that is a great question. And because it started a question, that is going to be a winning prize.
Okay. So congratulations to Roland. Roland, please don't forget to send us your address, your full name, and your size for your shirt. So go ahead.
Really good question. I only learned this recently in the last year or two, but the sword and the shield of the brewery, when it started, the beers actually started being called Celtic beer. So it was a Celtic stout, or a Celtic ale, which is Gaelic or very Irish, true to tradition. But the sword and the shield actually is a symbol and sign for strength and endurance. So to persevere, to be strong, and to withstand what we're doing. So that's the logo on the brewery, and something that we have kept with the brewery since we started.
So when O'Hara started?
So O'Hara started in 1996, so 24 years ago.
Okay, perfect. So let's go back to the Irish Pale Ale.
We're gonna have to get you some. That's a lovely glass. I thought I had my fancy O'Hara's glass tonight. Yours is really nice too.
Yeah. For these tastings, you picked yours and I picked mine.
Yeah. So if you want to give it a shake up, you get some of that head retention back again. So it's not overly carbonated. There is a nice bit of carbonation there, which obviously you can see when you shake it up. It brings through some more of the floral notes. But the beer is hopped, so it is, we use quite a bit of hops on this. So it's hopped with, I know the beer lovers love, but it's hopped with Amarillo, Cascade, and Summit.
Okay.
That's the three hops that we use. But those three hops are added during the boil.
Okay.
And so it's usually hopped before filtration. And then afterwards, we do some dry hopping. And we put a lot of Cascade and Citra hops in when we're dry hopping.
No, it's really well balanced overall. It's really drinkable. It's really fun to drink it. It's not too complicated. It's really well balanced. It's not, in the aftertaste, it's not too bitter. It's not too harsh. So it's really, really good. So Harry, Alexandra is asking why the bottle is so small. It's more like a fun question, I guess.
Good question. We do have kegs as well. We have kegs if you need.
But who needs kegs at the moment?
Yeah. So this bottle is 33 milliliters, but in Ireland we do some 500 milliliters or 50 cl. So it just depends, really. We do both. But in Austria, we have the 33 available. We also have some of the 500 ml.
In Austria, they are also available. So we have both. For off-trade, we're using more or less only 0.3. You know, on-trade it's more like 0.5. And so, yeah, the pale ale, so the Irish IPA is also available in big bottles, Alexandra. So don't worry. So which kind of food do you recommend to that kind of? It can be also something like an Irish recommendation, you know, an Irish style food.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is a little bit of a toast to our friends across the water, but with fish and chips is really, really nice. So one thing that is a really nice dish, if people are at home, you know, trying to look at recipes, one thing to do is make a beer batter and put Irish pale ale used as the beer batter. So on the flavor, you get a little bit of lemony zest that was really nice with fish. So if you have that on a beer batter or like a fish and chips, pairs really, really nice with a fish and chips dish.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that can be something which we can do also in Austria, yeah, and taste it. It's a good.
If people are at home cooking or trying so, but just on the Irish pale ale, there's a lot of Irish breweries now which have, you know, taken off in the last few years, which is fantastic. There, a lot of people are doing.
Sorry to interrupt you. How many breweries you have at the moment in Ireland?
Good question. So today there is over 80 breweries registered in Ireland. When we started the brewery in 1996, there would have been about maybe 8, and that includes Guinness.
So all the bigger ones.
Yeah, Murphy's, Smithwick's, Kilkenny. So, you know, we feel ourselves and maybe the Porterhouse were the pioneers of craft brewing in Ireland. You know, we've been around for a while, so we're you know, there's a lot of great new breweries that have opened up doing, you know, really interesting beers, but a lot of them will do an Irish pale ale. So again, not that overly hoppy, super bitter beer, but in Ireland, a lot of people will drink by the pint.
Okay.
So they'll drink a full pint. So one of the reasons, you know, it's not overly hoppy, it's accessible, it's, you know, zesty, lemony, is because people want to drink by the pint. And they want to have 2 beers versus
3. Yeah. It's similar to the Austrians. So question from Lothar is, are you working at the moment, or are there any plans, you know, to come up with a non-alcoholic beer out from O'Hara's or from Callum?
Yeah, so good question. So at the moment we bring in some non-alcoholics for Ireland, just to kind of see what the situation is. But there has been a huge trend for non-alcoholics in non-alcoholic beer in Ireland. We are looking at it, but, you know, to try and retain the flavor and keep that really, really nice hoppy flavor that are, you know, malty flavor, it's very difficult because essentially you have to boil all the alcohol off. So it's difficult, but something we are looking at for the future, for sure.
Okay. So yeah, but it's not only in Ireland, you know, it's pretty sure everywhere the same, you know, non-alcoholic, I guess, will be the future, you know, because people, they're looking on the health side, you know, they want to be drinking less alcohol, and so that can be something, you know, and we already can see it also in Austria, that's getting more and more popular. Non-alcoholic pale ales, IPAs, all that kind of stuff, you know. So
and there is some really nice, you know, non-alcoholics coming out, which is great. So
yeah, that's true. That's
definitely something to look at.
Cool.
Yeah. So just on the Irish pale ale. So again, we always find, you know, we have as we taste through the beers, you know, we've pale ales, we've red ales, we find this one is particularly, you know, really nice summertime, well, anytime drink it, but again by the pint, but one that does really well in the Irish pubs, because, you know, in the Irish pubs there's always Guinness, of course, and maybe Kilkenny, and, you know, fantastic, or, you know, great, they've done a great job because they have put Irish beer on the map around the world. People go, oh, Ireland, beer, Guinness. So we find that the Irish pale ale in an Irish pub can be really, really nice as a, you know, a different choice, or, you go into an Irish pub and you expect an Irish beer. So the Irish Pale Ale, hopefully in Vienna or in Austria, there's some, Irish Pale Ale available.
Yeah, soon, hopefully back in the bars. No, it's a really nice beer.
Yeah.
It's really nice, really high drinkability. So
yeah, we keep the alcohol as well as at 5.2. So there's the thought in Ireland that it's sessionable. So
it's
again, yeah. So we don't, we do like our high ABV beers, but if we're going out to the pub or to the bar or to enjoy with friends, we want to have a couple of beers. So
not only one or two. Yeah. That's normal. Yeah. Okay. I would say we go to the next one.
Yeah, great. I might just have to get one more glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna need 6, I think. We're gonna need 6 glasses. Then you should be fine.
When it's arrived.
Oh, it's perfect. Great service.
So next beer we're going to try, again in 33, is our Irish Red. Did you have something else? No. Irish Red? Yeah.
We have the same size.
Yeah, perfect.
O'Hara's Irish Red in 0.3, and it's also available in 0.5 for the Austrian market. Nice aroma. Nice pour. No, it's really nice. Really,
so actually, it's a dark red, and if anyone's at home, if you look up to the light, you can see, you get that dark ruby color.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more red when you look up to the light.
Yeah, it's more like ruby red.
Yeah, exactly. The smell, you get that kind of malty, fruity, dried fruit, even off the smell, off the aroma, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But pours, lovely dark, nice head, nice head retention there. Mm-hmm. But on the taste, this is one of my favorite beers. There's not a huge amount of Irish red beers out there. People talk about amber ales or whatever, but this is really a true Irish red. Lovely. It's CO2 in the bottle. So you get that, I don't know if you get that toffee flavor, a little bit of toffee, a little bit of coffee.
Really intense toffee flavor I got out. Yeah, that's really present.
So to get that kind of toffee flavor, we use a huge amount of caramel. So it also has some torrefied wheat, but it also has some roast barley. So you get that roasty kind of flavor, nearly like a stout, that dry roasty flavor. Really kind of fills out the body of the beer. So you get that slight creamy coffee flavor.
It's really rich, it's a really rich taste, yeah.
So this one's interesting. So in Austria, we have Irish red in the bottle, but sometimes anywhere that we have it in a pub, we do it on nitro. So the beer is exactly the same. The only difference is in the keg, it's a different gas. So it will pour a little bit smoother, a little bit creamier. Something that everyone needs to try if you get a chance. If you're a fan of this beer, when the pub's open, get to try it on draft. It's really smooth and creamy. It's smooth already, but something really great to try.
That's true. The red nitro version you only can get in bars in Vienna, and I guess 1 or 2 places in Austria which serves the nitro version, and it's really smooth and it's perfect. It's a really nice beer when it comes to the nitro version.
So Irish Reds would have been, a real traditional Irish beer, an Irish ale, I suppose, but very malt forward. So again, there is hops in here. So we are using some of the best noble hops. We use Challenger hops in this and Mount hops. So, you know, a lot of people look for IPAs, they get that super, you know, US Cascade, Citra hops. But on this, you know, it's more subtle hops, more for the aroma. So your Challenger Mount hops. But the malt is the one that really kind of drives this beer forward. So lovely caramel malt, crystal malt as well. All, you know, grown locally or else sourced, speciality and roasted.
Really lives out of the malt body, you know, that's the main character of the beer.
Yeah, exactly. It's malt forward. It's not, you know, it's not overly hoppy. It's 4.3%. So really, again, back on that sessionable kind of you know, area. There's a lot of flavor in it for 4.3.
Okay. Michael is asking if you maybe have some hints. He's a home brewer, you know, which hops or yeast you are using, or is it a super high secret out of the brewery, which kind of yeast you're using?
Yeah, so I'm not a brewer, and I won't pretend that I'm a brewer. So if you ever come to the beer lovers store or some of the beer festivals, you will have to meet one of our brewers, Alan. We have to shout out to Alan, who's, you know, famous in Vienna now, and he will let you know all about brewing. But I know for this beer we use noble hops, so the European style, but with Challenger hops or Mount noble hops.
Okay.
But an Irish red, I think, is a pretty popular beer style for home brewers as well. You know, it's that malt, you know, that maltiness, you know, gets a lot of flavor and robust flavor. So something really, really nice if you're a home brewer to try. There's not too many Irish red ales around the world. We feel that we do you know, pretty good job at a unique style, because there's not too many of them.
That's the truth, you know, because it's really kind of a unique style. There's only Kilkenny, which I know, you know, which is an Irish red, but yeah, it's a good beer, you know, but it's really, really popular also in Austria because it goes hand in hand together with Guinness in the pubs. But then Irish red, so our red ale, there's not really any other red ale which I know at the moment available in Austria. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I know Kilkenny, I know, of course, the red ale from your side, and then I know this one from Tiny Rebel, from Newport, Cardiff, Wales, this Quitch. So this is a red ale.
So in the US, again, back to when I was living there, there was a couple of old Irish recipes. So there was Killian's Irish Red, if anyone's been to the US, but it was taken over by Molson Coors. So, you know, people always say, "Oh, with Killian's," but it's I think they've dialed the flavor back a lot, and it's, you know, available everywhere. So you might see it in some Irish pubs in the US, but hopefully, you know, bit by bit, or in some of the bars, we're getting there with our Irish Red, because it's, you know, the main thing about it's great to have interpretations of the style, but when you can say, "Hey, I'm drinking an Irish Red, it was brewed in Carlow in Ireland using Irish ingredients," you know, that's true to the style. It's fantastic.
Markus is asking, so not me personally, there's another Markus listening and watching. How you want to describe, or how you describe the haptics or the mouthfeel of the beer of the Irish Red?
The mouthfeel, I suppose, it's a little bit dry. I get a mouthfeel of dryness. You do get that malt body, but I think you get that kind of toffee. I think if you think about thinking of a toffee kind of chewy flavor, so it is, you know, robust flavor, but it's not bitter. It's, I think, sweet, smooth, easy to drink. That's how I'd describe it. But for you, Mark, what do you think on the mouthfeel?
It's also, you know, you can really get this malt character out as it should be, you know, the carbonation is really, really smooth. Even it's CO2, you know, so it's not the nitro version. It's really round, you know, it's a really nice round mouth feel, in my opinion. You know, it's really smooth. It's really, let's say, it's not really bright, but it's it's super, super nice mouthfeel. So Birgit is asking if the red color is coming out from the roasted malts or where the red color comes from.
Yeah, so the red color actually comes, so it will start with the base malt, but then when we put the caramel malt in, so that's actually a pale ale malt, but it's been roasted. So what they've done is they've basically burnt it or cooked it, you know, to give that roastiness flavor. So when you add that into the brewing process, it'll give that dark ruby, dark color. So that's what's kind of creating that dark red color. And it's, you know, for an Irish red, a lot of people talk about ambers. They might be a little bit, you know, a little bit lighter in color, but this is, you know, dark ruby red, you know, really true. But that's from the, you know, rich caramel flavor coming through, and the, you know, the pale base malt as well.
Okay. Cool. So Kevin, say hello to Kevin. Kevin is the guy from the festival. So Kevin came up with a really long question, you know, concerning the craft beer brewer situation in Ireland. I can remember that I read a few years ago that there was a law introduced which provides tax support for craft new breweries, which lead to lots of new breweries. Is that law still active, and does it apply for O'Hara's?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I think, you know, Seamus O'Hara, the founder of our brewery, has been one of the guys who's really championed this and created an opportunity for smaller breweries to open in Ireland. So what it did was, you know, the excise or the duty, you know, the tax you pay on alcohol sales, if you produce under a certain limit, you get, you know, a better rate. So let's say the big brewers, they will pay 100% of the taxes. But if you're a small microbrewery, I think it's under 40,000 hectoliters.
So that's a good point, you know, because I want to ask, you know, when you are a smaller brewery, under which kind of liters, you know, or hectoliters?
Yeah. So if you're under that threshold, you get a tax rebate. So that really helps the smaller guys compete a little bit against the bigger guys, you know, to try and get our beer into pubs or try and get our beer onto shelves. And it's, you know, it's kind of created the craft beer, you know, network in Ireland. But when it started, I think the first year it was introduced, it might have been 10,000 hectoliters. So, you know, that's, you know, it's not huge, but I think at the start, everyone was saying, oh, if I was up to 10,000 hectoliters, I'm doing great. And then I think some of the breweries who started got close to there, and then they said, hey, we need to bring it up again. So it went to 20 and went up again. So at the moment, I think it's at, you know, about 40,000 hectoliters, maybe 50, but there's no brewery really in the craft, you know, segment in Ireland that is bigger than that, including O'Hara's.
Okay. So how big is O'Hara's then?
Good question. I don't know if I can be saying this, but we're still craft. We're not over that threshold. And a lot of people do think we are bigger than we are. One of the reasons I think maybe is because we are available in a lot of export countries. So as I said to you earlier, we started 24 years ago. So we have a little bit of a head start, but we have, you know, export at the start was key. In Ireland, nobody wanted to hear about craft beer. Nobody wanted to hear about new breweries. So we had to say, you know, hey, someone from Austria might call, hey, we heard you have a different Irish beer, we'll take it. Great. But somebody in County Cork, we're not interested. So we nearly had a better presence for O'Hara's internationally than we did in Ireland. So that really kind of created our business. And then people from today go, O'Hara's, it's everywhere, it's whatever. But you know, it's still not as big as people think.
So maybe you remember from November, last year in November, you get often the opportunity to play with the guitar. And so Markus now, he's watching as well, and he's asking, hey, Harry, how are you? But where's the guitar? Where is the guitar?
And so the guitar is tonight, unfortunately, not tuned, not in tune tonight. But we do have maybe something a little later on as a special guest for people. So wait later. Keep watching.
Keep watching, and there will be a special end tonight. I promise you, there will be something really, really special. Okay, Harry, let's go back to the beer. So food-wise, which kind of food recommendation you have for us here in Austria when it comes to this red ale?
So the red beer, this one really pairs really well with, roasted dishes. So, you might be looking at beef, sort of that kind of beef flavor, and any soups. If anyone is a cheese fan, really kind of mature cheese, that kind of smelly cheese could be really good because the maltiness, the sweetness pairs well with the cheese. But I would say roast chicken, roast beef dishes, and this beer is perfect for that. So try it out. Yeah.
Roasted.
Another one to try is quite nice to cook with if you're, making a stew or anything like that. We'll get to stout soon, but Irish red again, that lovely maltiness, that sweet flavor could be really nice to cook with, no matter what you're cooking. Just if you open a beer, pour a little bit in the pan, chicken, whatever, beef, could be nice.
Okay. It's a really nice beer. It's something completely different, it's a completely different taste.
Exactly, and this is
all the other pale ales, IPAs, all these hoppy ones.
Yeah, and when this started, so now it's called O'Hara's Irish Red. But originally, when the brewery started, it was called Mouling's Irish Red. So it's a Gaelic term, it's a Gaelic word, but Irish Red is a little bit more common, or a little bit better with the O'Hara's name. So it's changed. If anyone is a historian in beers or anything, Google Mouling's Irish Red and you'll see an old label and very, very Celtic style label. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I would say now we are ready for beer number 3.
Great.
Which is at the moment one of the most popular styles, I guess. Everyone is searching for kind of New England IPAs.
Yeah.
So what we get?
So the next beer we're going to try is 51st State. Mine is on the way from the fridge. I kept mine cold.
Okay. Yeah.
But so the reason behind the name 51st State is, so there's obviously 50 states in America. We think Ireland is the 51st state. So that's where the name came from, if people are wondering what's up with the name. Something a little bit different. But you can see just with the label, it's a little bit, different from traditional style. So with these beers, we're very much doing traditional style, Irish stout, maybe, traditional red ales. And then with the newer label, we're doing new styles. So this is the, New England style on this stuff.
So now it's the first beer in a big bottle. So
yes. It was Alex who asked the question earlier. 500 ml.
Then let's see.
Oh, nice glass.
Yeah, perfect glass, huh?
Yeah. So you still get that light color, nice head retention there in the beer. Really nice aromas if you want to take a sniff. You get peach, apricot, lovely kind of tropical fruit flavors, even off the aroma without tasting the beer. I think you get really nice tropical aromas. So a lot of people might say to us, you know, this isn't fully hazy. It's not, you know, a juice bomb or whatever. But we would say for us, for our brewery, it is. It's towards that style. But, you know, we don't filter this beer. But at the same time, you know, we have to make sure that it gets to you, the customer, in the best condition possible. So we want to make sure that, you know, it tastes great. There's lots of hops in there, but that it's, you know, consistent, and that the flavor and the enjoyment is always great from it, that it's not super murky or, you know,
But you're not filtering it, but you have a centrifuge. You centrifuge the beer?
Yeah, so we'll centrifuge it, but only lightly, but not filter the beer. So
okay.
There is a slight haze on it.
Yeah.
It's not as fully hazy as some people, you know, some people say that they want these super hazy, nearly looking like orange juice. But to do that, for us to send that to Vienna or to Austria is impossible. The beer just, you know, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't taste good. So you have to be conscious of that as well.
Okay.
So a lot of tropical aroma. You get that?
Yeah, it's really intense. You know, this tropical aroma.
Yeah.
It's peaches.
Yeah, exactly. And this
peaches a little bit more than compared to the tropical aroma. You know, I get more of the stone fruits out.
Yeah.
Get a really intense stone fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. So still pours light, you know, golden hazy, perfect white head. But there's nice sweetness from the hops. It's not overly bitter. There's a sweetness on the front end, that kind of juice that you expect from a New England IPA. You get that juiciness.
Especially in the beginning, you get this sweetness. Like a little bit, you know, on the lips, you know, you get a little bit of this really intense sweetness.
And then finishes with a nice hop bitterness, but it's not overly hoppy. It's, you know, more sweet, that juice that you're looking for from a New England style, that juicy.
Birgit is asking, sorry to interrupt you, Birgit is asking why it's so really juicy but not bitter in the end, you know? It's really juicy and fruity, but it's not bitter at all in the finish.
I suppose that's the combination of the malt. So we're using crystal and caramel and flaked oats as well. So that gives it kind of a smooth, silky-like feeling versus
the oats are responsible for this slightly milky, kind of really soft feeling, you know?
Yeah. Flaked oats, and then we also use some torrefied wheat, which gives it a kind of almost, you know, really smooth. The hop flavor gives it sweetness, so that gives it, you know, rather than being bitter, the oats, it kind of absorbs that flavor, which gives it that kind of smooth, silky.
You guys are not really boiling the hops, you know. You're not giving the hops during the boil, so more or less, you know.
So we're actually adding hops in the boil, but then we're also adding hops in fermentation. So we're double hopping. Yeah. So we're putting in Amarillo, Cascade, Columbus, and Chinook during the boil. And then in fermentation, we're adding those again, you know, to really give that hop flavor, which you're getting on the aroma.
During fermentation or during lagering?
During lagering.
Lagering, yeah.
Yeah.
During lagering, so then you dry hop it.
Yeah.
Because during fermentation, you're not adding any hops at all, you know?
Yeah.
So it's then during the lagering, you're getting, okay. That makes sense now. But the question I have for you is, normally everyone says, you know, drink the beers as fresh as possible, you know. But then when we look to your bottle, you know, for example, to the New England, to this 51st State IPA, then we have now a shelf life which shows March 21. The shelf life on the bottle now, it's March 21. So tell us, what is the shelf life when the beer leaves the brewery, and how long normally you're putting on the shelf life then?
So we change shelf life. I suppose I'm working on the export side. So when I'm talking with Markus or talking internationally, obviously we want the longest shelf possible. You know, this beer to drink, you know, you want to drink it as fresh as possible. Always, every beer is best fresh as possible. But, you know, when you work internationally as we do, it's impossible to, you know, have a beer brewed today and be at the bar tomorrow. So we have to kind of work a little bit with that. So, you know, with that, we'll do some light pasteurization, which will allow the beer to have a little bit more longer shelf life, and retain the flavor. So, you know, there's no skipping on, you know, ingredients or anything that we do, but we want to make sure that, you know, the beer arrives to you in really good condition, that you can enjoy it at a really good time, or our pub, you know, a pub can serve it in, you know, 2 months, 3 months time, and it still tastes as good as it would, you know, a week out of being packaged.
And then you're also on the completely safe side, you know, because when you pasteurize it a little bit, you know, then the yeast is under control, everything is under control. So, but then how old is this beer then? So what's the shelf life? 1 year, or is it 1 year when it's leaving the brewery, or it's 2 years, or it's 1.5 years?
So we would probably, we'd hope that you would drink it within kind of 8 to 9 months, I think. Okay. You know, but like realistically, what I'd say to you is, yeah, what's the state on this beer is? So that was packaged, you know, pretty recently, going to you, and now you're drinking it. So it's not old. It's more of a security.
Yeah, but it's written best before date. It's the 28th of March 21. So is it then packaged on 28th of March 2020?
Yes, would be, depending on what beer it is.
Depending on 51st state, for example, that means then it's really, really fresh when it's packaged in March, on March 28th.
Now that would be before package then. That would be, for this one, it's March 28, 2021. It's probably packaged in February.
February, huh? Yeah. But then it's still super fresh, you know, because then it's
Exactly. So it is fresh, like when it goes out. But the only issue is with compliance and getting it to, you know, sometimes we would say, you know, hopefully it's gone, or it's, you know, somebody's had the beer within 6 months. But to be available to go to international, sometimes you have to put a little bit longer on the beer. Although we say, you know, hopefully it's finished or it's been drunk within 6 months. So.
Next question is coming. Chris is asking, how important is the right temperature for beer?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. So with, you know, IPAs and those beers, we say temperature, you could be able to drink the beer at any temperature to get the flavors, but we would recommend sort of our serving temperature from 6 to 10 degrees. Well, we want to keep it, you know, cool. So we've actually introduced cold storage in the brewery. So everything that we package now is going into cold storage in the brewery to retain that hop profile, to retain the flavors in all of our key kegs. So anything that's coming over in kegs to you has been cold stored, chilled down as best as we can. So when you serve the beer, obviously, you know, at a lower temperature, it's good, but some beers at a warmer temperature are fine. You get different flavors. So I would say something we're going to taste a little later, Leann Folláin, you know, that could be on a shelf in a room, and you could taste, you know, still get lovely flavors from that beer, and it doesn't have to be super cold or chilled down. So it really depends on the beer, but we would recommend, you know, our IPAs, our pale ales to be served, you know, kind of 6 to 10 degrees.
I would say lower than 10. 10 is already quite too high, I guess, you know. So between the best temperature should be, you know, in my opinion, should be between 6 and 8 degrees, you know. And so it was a good hint, you know, from Harry. So maybe it's a good choice to put out the last beer is Leann Folláin out now of the fridge. If it's still in the fridge,
Absolutely.
get the beer a little bit warmer, get the beer a little bit of the room temperature, and then you will get the full aroma and flavor out of this beer.
Yeah.
So Nadia, yes.
So as you said, when you're drinking a lovely pale ale, as you said, 6 to 8 degrees, but if you're having our Irish stout on tap, that's nearly too cold. You want that little bit higher. Like optimum might be at from 8 to 10. So it really depends on the beer. But when you're drinking pale ales, IPAs, that 6 to 8, is great.
So Nadia is asking a question: how you came up with a new recipe? Who is gonna picking out the hops? And I would say, Nadia, maybe we can ask Harry, because he's not the brewer, if he or the sales team is involved to create new recipes, or is it something that Ellen, the head brewer, and the owner is doing by themselves, or they are asking you guys if you want to get some new beers on the market, you can bring in new ideas, or it's something completely which is under the control of Seamus and Ellen?
No, so that's really good question. So it's changed quite a bit. So obviously there's a lot of new styles coming out, and there's a lot of influences. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's a huge amount of hazy IPAs, so like super hazy coming from the US. There's that sour culture from Europe coming in. So it really depends on our travels. We're really influenced by different breweries around the places, like one pretty close to you guys, Bayvog. We were at their Who Cares for Beer festival about a year ago, and they had a fantastic session IPA called Zoe that we were like, let's try and brew something like that. Or we were in the US, visiting Firestone Walker, and they have a beer called Mind Haze, which is a hazy IPA, and we said, hey, let's try something like that. Yeah. So it really depends. But no, it's not one person saying, yeah, we're brewing that, let's do that. There's definitely collaborations on, this style is really hot, looking really cool, and there's an opportunity to put, a winter style into this market. Could we do something in Ireland? So it's definitely collaborative, and we work as a team for sure on new beer styles. One new one I talked to Markus about recently. He has to get it over to you guys, but we have a new hazy IPA that is really, really good. It's called White Haze, and really hazy, 5%, but really good flavor. Check it out on Untapped, really good ratings, but hopefully with you guys soon. But we're not tasting it tonight, so
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but we already had it on one of the last festivals, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, you did.
The festival, Vienna, we had it on top. Yeah.
Sorry.
White Haze. Yeah. That's true. So Peter is asking, when it comes to turnover, is it better for you in Ireland or abroad? Because in Ireland it's a really tough competition. Heineken is there, Carlsberg is there, so all the big ones. Of course, Guinness is there. So is the turnover better for you in Ireland, or is it better abroad? Also outside of Ireland?
Yeah, so it's better for our business for Ireland. So it is really, really competitive, and this isn't crying or anything about that, but there is two big companies in Ireland who kind of control the market, and that's Diageo and Heineken, and then everyone else is kind of playing, looking for that extra tap or looking for that extra place for the bottle. But for export, we have to sell at a price that we can sell it, and that our partners in another country can sell it to a bar that it's not crazy out of whack price. So you might sell to a bar here and be competitive with Guinness, but we need to sell to someone who basically runs our business in another country, and they need to sell it to a bar to be close to a competition. So for example, Amerson are with beer lovers, they'll buy our beer at a price and they'll sell it on to try and be competitive against a Guinness or against a Kilkenny. So we don't really make as much money turnover on export, but for branding or for being available and getting our beers out there, it's crucial.
Mm-hmm. And maybe you can tell us the percentage of split it, business or volume-wise, Ireland and export?
Yeah, so the last year was, we just eked it. I'm happy. My export team, Gareth and who you've met, and the guys. So last year we finished, export was about 60% of the production, and domestic was 40. But this year I think it'll probably be back to about 50-50, if not Ireland being a little bit higher. So it changes year to year. I like having a good competition with the guys in Ireland saying, hey, export's more important, but they always say no. So
back to 51st state.
Okay.
Food, what do you recommend?
Any spicy dishes, I think, because there's a really good, you've really a heavy hop profile of that Cascade, Columbus, Chinook, and Amarillo hops in there. So if you're having, a curry, pairs really nice. Any barbecue food, but something with a bit of spice, because the hop, there's a nice hop sweetness, clears the palate. So if you're eating something spicy, boom, and then a nice little sip, clears the palate, sets you up pretty nicely. So that's something I definitely pair the 51st with.
6%. And how high are the bitter units? You know it, the IBUs?
The IBU, I have it here because I lost it. 40 IBUs.
Okay. Yeah.
So not super high. You have that sweetness, but anyone who's, again, I don't know if you guys are cheese fans, but on my notes, Eton cheese, Silton cheese as well, pairs really, really nice.
And is it also popular in Ireland?
Yeah, so this beer, this beer particularly has really been great for us in Ireland, because the pale ale, is nearly our number one seller in Ireland. The pale ale we tried first, and the 51st state really was just like its bigger brother. So a lot of people in Ireland got into craft beer, say, hey, O'Hara's pale ale, wow, hops, what are hops? Taste it, like the flavor, and then it's you graduate, you go try something else, and then you try 51st, and it's really that hop, juicy Amarillo flavor. So it's kind of like its big brother, and people really like kind of graduating to the 51st state as nearly a step up. But always great to have a pale ale when you have it. But the 51st state for me is one of my favorites on draft. Again, fresh, really, really good flavor.
So when you launched this beer?
This beer probably about 2 years ago now.
So it's one of the newer.
One of the newer styles. Again, it's a little bit, a lot of people ask us, why don't we call it O'Hara's IPA, or why is that? And I suppose the reason is it's a little bit different to the traditional styles of our stout and our pale ales. This is a little bit new. It's our New England East Coast style IPA, juicy, sweet. So if you're a traditional beer drinker, it's definitely a step up. So that's one of the reasons that we kind of changed up the name and what we're doing with it.
And question maybe, which is also interesting for the Austrian O'Hara's fans, is, are there any ideas or any plans to maybe came out with a can soon? Is this something which you already maybe have planned and it's not available for export now? Maybe it's only available in Ireland, because everyone is talking at the moment about cans, how good it is for quality, especially for hoppy beers. And so I was wondering if it's also something that you maybe are planning or the team is planning.
Yeah, so cans obviously are huge at the moment, kind of blowing up everywhere. Everyone's getting into cans. We've been tread a little bit softly on the cans, but I think we're really looking at it. So we're hoping to put in our own canning line pretty soon, but we are doing some small batch runs of cans happening at the moment. But we just got to make sure that the quality that we put in the bottle is going to be the same in the can. So at the moment, if you want to get cans done in Ireland on a small, you're not, Guinness or whatever. You have to get a company in to do the packaging for you. So, it's a little bit out of your control. So we need to make sure that, we're really happy with the quality, that, the shelf life can be good, the oxygen levels are down, so that the beer is as good in a bottle or in a keg, in a can. So definitely something we're looking at, and keep an eye out soon. Hopefully cans are going to come to Austria. One that we're really excited at working at, it's been a long-term project, is our Irish Stout in a can as a nitro. So the same beautiful creamy smoothness that you get on draft pour, but available in a can. So keep your eyes peeled, hopefully soon.
Cool. Bierverk launched. It was last week. I had Vasia as one of my guests, and we did together the launch of the new cocoa porter nitro version out of a can, which was phenomenal. Yeah. So he already got this nitro project done. So yeah. And I'm pretty sure, it can be something like the future for dark beers, especially when it came out from a can, nitro.
Yeah, it just allows that beer to be, smoother, creamier. Yeah. If the nitro bubbles are so small, it just makes it, a little bit tastier, and sort of what you expect, kind of that. It's nearly like an old. I think the funny thing is it's like an old tradition, nearly like a cask, or like old brands are here nitro, but then you put the word nitro on it, and it's sexy.
Yeah, that's true. At the moment, so Ellie is asking, what is the average percentage of a New England IPA, and does it have any impact on the flavor? So the ABV, has there any impact on the flavor? So is there kind of what you can say the average of a New England?
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, again, in New England, they're definitely higher than we would. So in the US, the beers can go from an average IPA, or an average New England IPA might be 6.2 to 7.4. But again, our beer here is 6%, so it's on the lower side. But as I said, earlier, in Ireland, we brew. Our focus, a lot of the focus is Ireland, because people drink by the pint. They don't drink, small pours. So we have to kind of be conscious, or think about, if we have somebody drinking a 7.4 pint, are they going to end up falling out of the bar, or what are they doing? So again, and they want to, in Ireland, people are not used to drinking small glasses or small pours.
They want the pint. They want the proper pint. They don't want to taste it. They want to drink it. I got you.
That's a traditional, kind of, cultural thing. But slowly, people are changing, because they're saying, "Wow, the flavor is really good, but I can only drink, 300 mils of this." So hopefully, slowly we change. But I don't think there's any average percentage per se. Again, you'll find all different, variants, but I think 6% is hovering around that, maybe 6.5 to 7.5 ABV.
Which makes sense, yeah. Okay.
Cool.
You're ready for the next one?
I'm ready for the next, if I can double.
If you will get it out from the fridge. Yeah. Perfect service.
Yeah. Just for everyone in Austria, this is normal proceedings. Every night you get a beer delivered to you like this. Normal. I'm joking.
Normal. If it's normal for us in Austria.
No, for us in Ireland, I'm joking. But
for you in Ireland, it's normal. I understood. You are asking, if it's also normal for us here in Austria. No.
Maybe for you.
No. I have to go by my own to the fridge and get out the next beer. So that's why I'm prepared here, on the table. Everything is fine. So which beer is the next beer?
So the next beer we're trying is O'Hara's Double IPA.
Okay.
So this is actually unique beer. This was the first double IPA in Ireland. And this is credit to Alan Stokes at the brewery, who you guys know, and push the envelope or push the boundaries a little bit here, because no one had ever heard of a double IPA, and we were one of the first ones to brew it. So this was a really new one. that we launched at some festivals, years ago back in Ireland, and something that's.
What means years ago? How many years ago? So when was it launched? Do you have an idea?
I would think maybe 2012.
Okay.
Maybe.
So it's already then 8 years, 7 to 8 years on the market.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's see how it pours.
So the ABV is, a little bit higher here than the New England. 7.5. A little bit of a darker color.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Really intense golden color, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thomas is asking now if we are drinking all the beers completely. I only can say for me personally, so it's a tasting, and so we are not finishing the beers. We only taste the beers, and normally, what you can do. That's also the reason why we send out which beers we had available in smaller bottles. So we decided to send the small bottles and the big ones. Those the only size. This is the only size which is available in the market, and we are not finishing the beers. So keep the beers in the fridge, keep them cold, and after the tasting, of course, you can finish the beers. But normally during the tasting, you only get a sip and taste it together with us, and then afterwards you can drink it. Okay, back to the beer. Double IPA.
Yeah. So this is top fermentation.
Golden color.
So it's quite, this is what we call the Irish IPA that we tried, the first beer, but it's Big Brother. So it's basically, using the same malts as the Irish Pale Ale, and the same IPAs, but because of the lower yields and higher ABV, it kind of ratchets up the flavor and the bitterness. So you've got planet-based malt, Cara and Crystal malt, but doubling up. So lovely kind of sweet malt body.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that?
Really intense hop aroma, it's a double.
Yeah. You have Amarillo, Cascade, and Summit hops kind of hitting you there. At 7.5%. So it's up there for an Irish beer, back how many years ago, to be at 7.5% is pretty unique.
Sorry to interrupt. Vladana is asking, Vladana, hope I pronounced this right. How many IBUs does the double IPA have?
The double IPA is 44 IBUs. So that's 4 more. Yeah. 44. And the 51st state had 40. Yeah.
Okay, but it feels like it's really more hoppy, more heavy, more bitter. Okay.
That was a great question. So that's just, I think, one that we're going to send a prize out to, because kind of checked us on that on the IBU. So can you get Vladana to send her details, and we'll send her a gift as well?
So Vladana, she should get, okay, Vladana Saktotic, sorry, really, if it's not right, but please send us your address and your size, and you will be the second winner out of the lottery. So please send us your address and your size of your t-shirt. Next question is coming out from Rainer. What means double IPA?
Again, not being a brewer, but it's double the hopping, double the the level of malt per liquid. So we tried the Irish Pale Ale, but we're doubling up again on the ingredients. So
and it's getting also a little bit higher ABVs. It gets from everything. You get more, more hop aroma. There's a little bit more malt body. It's more intense in the alcohol, so it's a really rich kind of interpretation of an pale IPA. So it's a double IPA, so it should be rich, and you really can feel it. When you drink it, you can get this really hoppy aroma. This mouthfeel. Also the aftertaste. It stays. It stays, but it's really it's well balanced, so it's not harsh, you know. It's nice aftertaste, but it stays, you know, because the pale ale, when you drink it, you know, there's not really any aftertaste, you know, it goes away immediately. But when you double IPA, you can get it and you can feel it, you know. So there is something behind.
For sure, yeah, because the pale ale is, you know, as we said earlier, light, easy to drink. You can, you know, have a few of them. Where the double IPA is more intense, as you were saying, intense. You know, you get that caramel, you get the sweetness, you get the malt body hitting you more, but then you also get the nice hop bitterness, but also you get the 7.5 ABV on the beer, so that, you know, allows the flavor to come through. Really, really nice double IPA. You know,
it's probably not the best beer for the summer, because you can also get a little bit of a feeling, you know, it warms you up a little bit, you know. So when it's getting hopefully warmer and warmer and hotter, so then it's, in my opinion, it's not the best beer during summer. But then when it's getting back to, you know, autumn, fall, then it can be a really, really good option, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, when you go back to the pale ale with that, you know, zesty, light drinking, you know, want to enjoy by the pint, this one might be one that you take out your 500 ml glass and you pour yourself a nice glass in the winter time, or when it's getting, you know, darker a little bit earlier, you're sitting on the couch and you have that little bit more oomph from the beer. You know, something definitely to try there.
So Vanessa is coming up with a really nice question. What is your favorite Austrian beer?
Great question. So for me, I've a lot of favorites. I've been to Vienna a few times, but you know, love the guys at Stiegl, love the guys at Muttermilk, obviously, and what they're doing with the Vienna lagers, fantastic. But for me, sorry, Marcus, it has to be Bierverkostung Zo. Fantastic.
It's the perfect beer. Yes.
Great beer to have in a can. I had a fantastic experience in Austria maybe a year or two ago. We went to the Who Cares for a Beer festival, and we got to go out in some boats before the festival with all the other brewers and everyone, and we had some cans of Bierverkostung Zo fresh off the line, and you know, it was fantastic. So for me, that has to be my favorite Austrian beer. Great question. Another prize winner, I think.
Okay. So I will come back to her because I missed, you know, who was asking this question. But there's another good question, you know, what kind of food you can recommend to pair with this?
So again,
double IPA. Sorry.
Yeah, a little bit, you know, a little bit more full bodied, but again, that spicy food, I think, because it has that hoppiness, the maltiness, kind of clears the palate. It's strong. Excellent with really strong cheeses again. So if you like, again, back to that smelly, that maybe that, you know, aged cheese pairs really well. That cleans the palate, and that you can kind of get the full flavors of the cheese, taste the beer, something really nice.
Be a really, really strong cheese, you know, because otherwise cheese get lost immediately, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. It has to be
really aged, yeah. You know, Birgit is asking, that's a good question, you know. What is the best beer from O'Hara's for the summertime?
Great question. So for me, it depends where you are, but it's got to be either maybe 51st State or Irish Pale Ale. But I think the 51st State, because, you know, it's a nice mix between, you've got your Pale Ale, which is, you know, light drinking by the beer. You've got your double IPA, but maybe the 51st State in the middle, 6% ABV. It has that sweetness, you know, nice carbonation, but nice hop aromas. Perfect summertime drinking beer. If you're having a barbecue, you know, pairs really well with, you know, spicy bit of barbecue food. So for me, 51st State, I think, is my summer beer.
Okay, cool. Great.
The person who asked the question earlier, if we were finishing the beers, good question. We wouldn't be still here, I think, if we were finishing every beer. So
that's true. So I would say now, because I'm waiting the whole evening, you know, for the dark beers, for the stouts. So let's go and start.
Okay.
with the stout.
So just a little bit of background, I suppose, about stout. Stout in Ireland used to be 70% of the market. Marcus. So back.
Sorry.
So years ago, stout, of the total beer market in Ireland, stout would have been 70%. All of Ireland.
Yeah.
Everyone was drinking stout. Today, 70% lager.
Really? So it flipped completely.
Yeah. So there was even, there's an old story that, so my grandfather worked for Guinness for a lot of years, for all his life. He would say that, people would go into a bar and the bartender would ask, "Are you having a stout?" And he would say, "No, I'm off the drink. I'm not drinking. I'll have a lager." Because it was seen that if you were having a lager beer, you weren't having a drink.
Okay.
Yeah. So today it's really changed the way that stout is enjoyed or, perceived, but very much it's a lager market. It used to be stout, so it's changed.
Phew. So that then can be also, of course, it's the reason that also Guinness is producing now some pale beers, because we can see it already in some markets, there is this, I don't know, there's a pale ale and there's a lager version out from Guinness, and Guinness was used and only known for the stout,
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'd say, again, Guinness, what fantastic company, put Irish beer on the map, but a lot of people might say that Guinness today isn't what it was years ago, because that consumer or the people who enjoy beer are looking for more of that lager taste or easy drinking. So maybe the flavor isn't the same as it used to be. Maybe it's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to drink. So, which rolls really nicely into our Irish stout, because we feel that our Irish stout is, true to what Irish stout should be, or what people expect, or people might have expected from an Irish stout.
Okay. So then let's pour it into the glasses.
So we're going 50 cl and O'Hara's Irish Stout. CO2 on the bottle, a little bit different on draft on the nitro, but
so there's a girl asking, her name is Gabriela. Harry, have you been to the craft beer festival 2 years ago? How do you decide which festival are you going to?
Good question. I've been at the last couple of beer festivals in Vienna, and fantastic festival. We love it. I maybe enjoy it too much, because if any of you guys have been watching, have seen me, I'm usually playing music or singing or something. We're trying to win Marcus at the end, but fantastic festival. But we look at any festivals we can be involved in. We love to be be part of it. If we have a partner that we work with in a country, so be it that Italy, or be that Spain, or be that Austria, if they have a festival and we have customers and we can open up to help our customers at being at the festival, we'd love to be there. So it's that's usually how we do it. Again, it depends. A lot of the festivals you have to be asked. Lucky for us, we work with a great partner, Beer Lovers and Amerson, that they ask us, can you be part of our presentation of breweries. So it really depends on which festival it is, but some of them now have got very, very exclusive, that it's only 1 or 2 people are chosen, and then other ones may be for the wider audience, ask people to come and present their breweries.
In your opinion, what is the best festival in Ireland?
For beer?
Yes. Because we are talking the whole night over beer, so I'm not asking for a food festival. So beer festival.
Music festival. Let me get to that. No, I joke.
Musical festival, yeah, that can be also something.
Yeah,
which is
there's
quite
lots,
interesting.
there's lots of different, lots of really good beer festivals in Ireland. Seamus O'Hara, the founder of our company, has started, the Irish Craft Beer Festival years ago, and was kind of the only beer festival on the block for many years. It got up to a stage where in one of the main arenas in Dublin, there was maybe 10,000 guests or visitors. So that was really, really big for some of the breweries to kind of get their name out there and get to be known. And since then, with the explosion of breweries, there's been loads of different festivals that have happened. But two that jump out outside of the O'Hara's realm is Hagstravaganza, with the White Hag in Sligo. They have a really, really good festival every year, and really good breweries, and seem to put on a great show. Another one last year that happened in Dublin was Fidelity, was in the Dublin Mansion House, kind of organised by a new brewery called Whiplash. Really unique breweries, had some really cool breweries from the US and stuff involved. So there are two new festivals that have happened in the last couple of years that I think really cool to check out. And if you're here as well, obviously check out the Irish Craft Beer and Festival, the kind of the older statesmen of the festivals that have been around for a while.
Cool. So now to the stout.
Yeah. So again, really dark, up to the light, you get that kind of ruby color, but dark pour with a nice tan head. Obviously in the bottle it's CO2, so you don't get that head retention or that creamy head. But on draft you get that nitro pour, the smooth creamy head. But in the bottle it's dark tanning head.
Aroma?
The aroma?
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Everyone talks about coffee. So you get that coffee aroma. Again, there is obviously hops in there. So those people who are like, you're talking about hops or different hop flavors. This is again malt forward, a malt forward beer with like a lot of roasted malt, caramel malt.
And the bitterness is also coming from the malt. So there's no hop bitterness. So that's really malt bitterness, what you can taste now.
Well, there is lovely Fogel hops in there. So the European hops that do give it the bitterness, but again, some aroma. But it's really the malt body on this and the roasted barley and the flaked oats that you get in this stuff. Really strong coffee flavor. I think everyone gets that, even in espresso. I've had people say to me that they get a flavor of smoky bacon, a lot of smokiness on it. But that's
not really intense. So I can get a hint of smokiness, but not really intense. Smoky bacon is something different for me, Schlenkerler Raucheiche, for example. Schlenkerler Märzen is something which is really, really smokiness, presenting. It's more like a coffee. It can be an espresso. It can be also something like a milk coffee, you get a little bit of milkiness, coffeeness, so it's really a little bit of chocolate, so it's kind of mixture.
Yeah. And then just for those, people who are obsessed are like, love what the hop varieties are. So we use, Fogel, Syrian Golding, and Challenger hops in this beer. Again, it doesn't give you that super hop bitterness, but that's more aroma, more mouthfeel, more flavor. So, pretty unique. This stout actually, really put us on the map. I think on draft, it's, for me, it's second to none, because you get all that flavor you have of that, smoky, that coffee, that, aroma, smooth and creamy in a pint. On draft is just fantastic. And we won the 2000, one of the international gold medal winning award for draft stout. That
was a question from Ellie, because there's award winning written on the label, and she was asking, what kind of awards you were winning with the beer, but now you came out with the answer.
So yes, this beer has actually won quite a few awards, but the one that really kind of stands out, or that's always on the label, is the 2000 draft award. So I think when the brewery started kind of 4 years ago, before this event, we entered in the draft stout, and it was gold medal winner. And from that, kind of the brewery took off, because I think people were like, oh, whoa, we tried the stout, or we heard you won your stout. Can we get some of it? So that's how the export started. You know, a little bit here, a little bit there. People had heard about it, and it really put us on the map. And so that was, you know, really, really great for us back then, which is, you know, quite a few years ago now. That's 20 years ago. Yeah.
But you're still entering your beers to several competitions around Europe or around the world?
Yeah, as much as we can. It's important to do that, and something maybe that we probably haven't done enough of lately, put new beers in or re-entered beers, but something I think is becoming more important, because I know myself, you know, I look at the lists and I go, the top 3 boom, 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 beers, or what, you know, what won in what category, who was the best Imperial Stout, or who had the best New England IPA. So something that we're going to do a little bit more of going forward, but something that we definitely did a little bit more of in the past.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Any food recommendation?
So this beer is fantastic. Obviously, I don't know if you guys have heard about an Irish stout stew. Yeah.
Explain us a little bit. What is an Irish stout stew?
So a stew is basically putting, you know, Irish beef, maybe onions, carrots in a big pot for many hours to kind of slowly cook. But to get some of those flavors, open up a lovely bottle of O'Hara Stout, pour yourself a glass and put the half, maybe a quarter into the pot, and it just kind of soaks into the meat or into the veg and gives it that kind of that roasty, bitey flavor. But it just, you know, brings through the flavors really, really nicely.
I'm pretty sure we can find a recipe when we Google it. So if anyone wants to make a Irish stew at home, then we will find it.
If anyone wants to pair as well, it pairs really, really well with shellfish or oysters. If anyone wants to have oysters, you know, with some nice stout, really nice pairing on that.
Are you guys brewing any? Sorry for that. Are you guys brewing any oyster stout or not?
Not yet, but we're hoping. I was maybe saying to you a little bit earlier off air, but we've just added some more smaller tanks into the brewery in Carlow, that we hope that we can start bringing out some kind of smaller batches of beer and innovations. And one thing that we've kind of realized is that O'Hara's is nearly known for its stout. You know, around the world, it's known for its stout. So keep your eyes out. Maybe we start bringing out some different variations of stouts, you know, into the future, be it an oyster stout, be it a milk stout. We have one that we did a couple of years ago, a Turkish coffee stout with our friends Pinta in Poland, which was really good. I actually was looking for some bottles of it the other day, and I think there was 2 in the brewery. So yeah, that kind of ran out. So.
Lucky you.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's a really nice beer.
.3 as well. Again, a lot of flavor in there for you know, low ABV beer.
Volume wise, how big is Stout at O'Hara's? The percentage of the total outcast?
So in Ireland, it's actually not a huge part of our business, because there's a company with the big G that, you know,
but you already mentioned before, you know, that the country is flipping completely. You know, it's before it was 70% Stout, and now it's 70% lager.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so Stout is not a huge category, but on export, it's about 30 to 35% of our export is Stout.
Okay.
So it's a big chunk of what we do, our Irish Stout, and people, you know, really like different stouts. But when you get a stout that's true to the flavor with that, you know, traditional coffee aroma, espresso flavor, they really enjoy it. Also, to any of our friends in Vienna, if you get the chance to have Irish Stout on draft, it's a nitro pour. So you have that really smooth flavor and lovely head retention. And there's a lovely challenge. You can try and take a pint and, get it to finish, the head to finish here. So something to try out the next time you're out in the bars. And once the bar is open, a nice thing to do.
Roland is asking, Benjamin is asking, so in comparison to Guinness, how do you get the foam to be that nice building? How you can get, it's not a nitro version, it's more or less like a normal, as you told us, it's CO2 bottled version, but he's asking, how you can get this nice
Creamy
head of the beer, this creamy head. And if it's not a nitro beer.
If it's not a nitro beer.
Because it's not a nitro beer, and you get a really nice head when you put it here.
Yeah, I suppose that's the ingredients and the brewing process. So again, we don't skip any corners of what we're using. We're using the best ingredients that we can. Another factor that makes our stout really, really nice is that the River Barrow, it's a river that runs through Carlow. We use that water which runs by the brewery, to brew our beers. It's a hard water, and the water makes it really good for brewing stouts and ales. So, we have some of the best land around us for the, really arable malt. We have really good water, and then also we've got lovely hops in there as well. So, that kind of makes the most of it. And then on draft, obviously you have the nitrogen that makes it that smoother and creamier.
That's a really, really, really nice beer.
It's really true. True to tradition, like Irish Stout. It's true to the flavor. It's using Irish ingredients. And the main thing I would say is that you want an Irish Stout. O'Hara's Irish Stout is brewed in Ireland using Irish flavors brewed by the O'Hara's family.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
It's perfect, there's body, it's rich, it has lower IBV, it's nice drinking, it's a nice drinkability, and they had this, there is still something.
Good flavor.
There's flavor, when you compare it, for example, to the G product, so it's really, really rich, really intense, and it makes a lot of fun, Laurent is asking, to how many countries you are exporting at the moment?
Good question. So we exported last year, I think, to maybe like 37, something like that. But only about 8 or 9 are kind of our key markets. So we may have had a pin on the map saying that our beer was available there, but really and truly, we're only really kind of working in 5 or 6 places. So that's Italy, Spain, France, Austria, USA.
Thank you.
Our partners are working, so.
Okay, we try to.
Yeah.
No, we're trying our best. Kevin is coming back with the next question. If export is such an important part of O'Hara's, have you ever thought about canning the beers? Just read you tried it 2016, but haven't seen cans to date. So Kevin, maybe you missed our conversation before, because we already had this conversation. So they have plans to start canning, and they have already some tests going on in Ireland, and maybe soon we will have some available in the Austrian market. Stay tuned, and where you can get the best information out from. So there will be cans hopefully soon available in Austria.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really nice beer. So I would say it's time for the last beer of tonight, but don't leave after the last beer. Don't forget, there's coming something special after the tasting. We will get something like a really nice maybe, I don't know what we can expect, but it will be
an Irish twist.
And what, an Irish twist?
We call it an Irish twist, will we? No.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You will tell us. Radana is asking, if we were visiting Dublin, do you offer a guided tour to the brewery? So maybe we can have this conversation from Dublin to the brewery. How far is it?
Great question. So that's, I don't know if she
already won a t-shirt. She already won a t-shirt, so it's fine.
Yeah. You have to tune in next week with the good questions. I don't know if the next brewery, if Chris from Left Hand has some swag or
Okay.
Great question. So the brewery, where the main brewery is based about 1 hour and 15 minutes south of Dublin. So here's Dublin and here's Carlow on the island of Ireland. So about 1 hour and 15 minutes south of Dublin. So you can visit it for sure. And we do have plans to expand our tap room and visitor center. But if you are just visiting Dublin for a couple of days, we have opened a brew pub in Dublin. Obviously, it's not open right now, but we have a brew pub called Urban Brewing.
But no one is intended to fly out to Dublin in those days, because there's no possibility to go. So hopefully, when it's open again, then we will be all allowed to fly and visit Europe again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But next time, when everything is hopefully back to normal, we do have a place in Dublin to come and check out. We have a 5 hectoliter brew house in the bar, and we brew only on site and serve only on site. So it's basically a test kitchen for the main brewery. The building is a 200-year-old whiskey and tobacco warehouse. So really interesting, underground. So if you're in Dublin, come check it out. But we would love to have you at the main brewery in Carlow as well to kind of see, that's the main ship and that's the mothership down there too.
Cool. Waiting for the last beer.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready when you are ready. Ask for your last beer. But it shouldn't come out from the fridge. Perfect. So.
Yeah, mine has been out getting ready for room temperature. Ready. So this final beer that we're going to finish up with, one of our most highly rated or well recommended beers is O'Hara's Leann Folláin. So if anyone is asking what Leann Folláin is, which everyone does, it's Gaelic, which is the Irish language, but it means wholesome stout.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the Gaelic language. So being very true to Ireland, there's old stories of, when you'd have Guinness and you'd ask for it off the shelf. So if you'd ask for it off the shelf, it would mean that, it wasn't so cold. So you got that more flavors, a little bit more of the malt body. So we're trying to be really Irish with this one and, not copying anyone, but being a more flavorsome, true to tradition Irish stout.
Look at this.
Yeah. So again, lovely head retention. Really, really nice head retention. You can just smell
it's not the nitro version. It's again out from the bottle. So
CO2.
You can see how nice the head is, and how long the head stays.
It pours a clearer, it actually is a lighter head color than the Irish stout.
A little, yeah.
It's a little bit lighter.
Oh, but the aroma is really intense. It's really, really intense. It's really rich.
Yeah.
Compared to the Stout.
As you mentioned earlier, that this one doesn't need to be in the fridge. So anyone who's watching tonight, next time when you come to visit Ireland, ask for an O'Hara's Leann Folláin off the shelf, and they will think you're a local. So that's a little tip for tonight. Yeah.
So it's, go ahead, explain us, what you can smell, tell us a little bit about the aroma you can get out.
So I think the aroma you're getting there is, again, the malt body. You get a little bit of sweetness in the aroma, but this beer is full of chocolate malt. So again, everyone asks what's chocolate malt, but again, it's roasted malt. So it's a pale ale malt that's been roasted to make it dark and brown and give that kind of chocolatey aroma. There's caramel malt in there, which is that, again, another roasted one, but more caramel flavor. So already we're talking about chocolate and caramel. And then you've got lovely flaked barley and wheat malt. So that gives it that kind of silky smooth. So if you want to talk about 3 or 4 ingredients, chocolate malt, caramel, chocolate, flaked barley, wheat malt. If you haven't had a taste, now is maybe time to have a taste.
I also get the aroma of really these dried fruits, so dried fruits, red fruits, like
berries,
kind of this, so I'm not really getting any really intense coffee flavor out, but I get these berries, red dried fruits.
But on the tasting, I think you get dark chocolate, vanilla.
On the taste, you mean?
On the taste flavor, yeah. I know you're talking about the aroma on the taste.
Billy is asking, is 6% strong for an Irish Stout? Isn't it too strong for an Irish Stout?
So one of the reasons that it's at 6% is a traditional Irish Stout sometimes would have a higher ABV. So like we talked earlier about having shelf life, what they would do is they would put a higher ABV on the stout and they would call it an export stout.
Okay.
It means it would preserve it for a little bit longer. So this is just, I suppose an export style stout, but it's higher ABV, but it gives you more aroma and more flavor being at the higher ABV. Lovely chocolate flavor. I think a little bit of vanilla. The American Brewers Association, this was the perfect Irish extra stout in their guidelines. So when they talk about, perfect beers in their book and they talk about Leann Folláin, they name this one. And we take a huge amount of inspiration from the US brewers as well as European brewers, but a lot of people are obsessed with the US brewers, me included. And to have that, in their guidelines is, fantastic.
But you never won anything, at the World Beer Cup so far.
We need to put this in.
You never put this in?
I don't think we have. No, I don't think we have.
Oh, okay. Because normally this year was the year for a World Beer Cup, but
I know
they canceled it, and so but you have to send it.
And another really interesting one on this beer is obviously, the chocolate coffee aroma, really easy to drink. It's smooth and easy to drink at 4%. I think it's smoother than the Irish Stout. Well, actually every year we'll put this into Irish whiskey barrels for about 3 months. So we usually work with a different distiller every year and it'll suck some of that whiskey flavor or aroma into the beer, and it's really, really special. You might put it in a 750 ml bottle, cork and caged, very limited release. So Markus has been lucky enough to get a few kegs of that over to Vienna for some of the beer festivals, but it's a real treat if you do get a chance to have the barrel-aged version of the Leann Folláin. Really, really nice.
So Birgit is asking, Harry, this stout is amazing. Is there any special vocabulary a beer drinker should know in Irish?
I think one point that we said earlier, maybe, because my language, my Gaelic language isn't great, but sláinte is one great one, because that's, you know, that's our toast, and it's one that we should be saying right now because it's a toast to health. So if you can take one vocabulary away when you come to Ireland for a beer and you say sláinte, you'll get a sláinte back. So sláinte.
Sláinte. Ellie's asking again, maybe you can tell it one more time, you know, lean for lean, what does it mean?
So again, yeah, so Leann Folláin or Leann Folláin, again, yeah, changes
Gaelic.
Sorry, Markus.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, so, Leann Folláin or Leann Folláin, whichever way you want to say it, is the Gaelic language or the Irish language, and it translates, a literal translation is wholesome stout. So we could call it O'Hara's wholesome stout, but we keep true to our Irish tradition and we call it Leann Folláin.
Food. Maybe you can pair it with some sweets. Is this an opportunity?
Yeah. So dark chocolate, really, really nice. We actually talked about Easter time. You know, a nice Easter egg really pairs really well with, you know, dark, you know, or even other chocolate, just to try it together. Or pour a little bit, if you have any Easter eggs left over, pour a little bit into the Easter egg and try it together. Really, really
but
good.
You mean the chocolate eggs?
Chocolate
you mean
eggs,
the chocolate
yeah, not real
eggs. Okay.
Okay. But also, if, you know, because of its, you know, rich flavor, beef or venison can be paired really, really well with this beer. So something really nice to try, and, you know, a unique one to try.
Nice. Billy is writing, it's an awesome stout. So it's really, really cool. So, no.
Yeah.
It's a really nice one.
At 6% as well, a lot of flavor. So you're not, you know, overpowered. You're not going to fall asleep after having one of them. So really, really nice, smooth flavor, but lots of flavor going in as well.
Okay. It can be dangerous, I guess, huh? Basically, not feeling really the 6%, and it's really high in drinkability, and you can enjoy it and drink one after another. But then when you go out from the bar, it can happen easily.
Especially if you're with an Irish guy and you're, you know, chatting away, having a few beers, and then you have one too many, and then you have another. No joking.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the flavor,
It's really nice.
Really, really good.
So, okay.
Fantastic.
No, it was really, really nice. The end is near, but the glass is full. So that's the good thing, you know, because we get big bottles of this really, really lovely stout. So, Harry, is there something you want to show us here in Austria? Is there something you want to tell us?
Yeah, so
before we finish.
Before we finish, I'd like to say, you know, thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. It's been fantastic. Obviously, to beer lovers for putting this all together, and to Amerson for supporting us and being our partners for many years. And to the beer lovers in Vienna, it was great to see you at the beer festivals, and we see you maybe at the beer festival in November. The last time I was at a beer festival, I ended up playing the guitar, but tonight we might have something a little bit different. So I'm just going to step off the camera for 1 minute and try and rustle up something for all of our friends in Austria. So 1 minute.
So, ich hoffe, es bleiben jetzt alle hier und schauen sich das gemeinsam mit uns an, weil ich glaube, jetzt passiert etwas, auch so quasi eine kleine Premiere. Also wir werden jetzt eine kleine Darbietung kriegen, die wir im Prinzip live aus einem Wohnzimmer aus Dublin bekommen. Und ich glaube, es ist etwas sehr Spezielles. Bevor ich mich dann verabschiede, will ich euch nur nochmals danken für euer Interesse an unseren Online-Verkostungen. Natürlich geht es weiter. Wir haben nächste Woche 2 sehr, sehr interessante Themen. Zum einen haben wir am Dienstag die 2 Besitzer von Omnipollo mit dem Henok und mit dem Karl. Ich glaube, das ist eine unglaubliche Möglichkeit, mit diesen beiden Herrschaften in Kontakt zu kommen. Und am Mittwoch haben wir dann Chris, seines Zeichens einer der Besitzer von Left Hand aus Colorado. Aber jetzt ist es genug von meiner Seite für heute und danke nochmal fürs Zuschauen. Und jetzt sage ich euch, Bühne frei für Harry und ich wünsche euch einen schönen Abend und genießt diese kleine Darbietung. So Harry, it's your stage now.
Yeah, thanks again, Marcus. Thanks all the beer lovers. So obviously I don't have my guitar and I'm not a very good player, but again, keeping in tradition of being an Irish brewery, we're going to play and finish. My girlfriend Zelda is joining us and going to play some Irish tunes to finish the evening. So everyone, bring up your beer, your Leann Folláin, and I'll say Sláinte, to good health. Let's get over this virus and we look forward to the future.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Bravo. Perfect. Well done. Okay. So, gute Nacht. Danke fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Und thank you, Harry, for this great evening. Thank you.
Cheers. Okay. Sláinte. Bye-bye.
Sláinte.